Hello everyone, welcome to this discussion. Today we will talk about the psychosocial developments in the first 3 years. So yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon, yung mga psychosocial developments na nangyayari kapag nasa infancy and sa toddlerhood. So to start this discussion, let's talk about two important things na madadaanan natin again and again kapag psychosocial development ang usapan. First, nandiyan yung personality or the relatively consistent blend of emotions, temperament, thought, and behavior that makes a person unique. So personality it makes you different compared sa ibang tao. It makes you unique. Meron kang sariling personality. Okay? And yung personality, nagde-develop na siya even as early as baby ka pa lang. As early as infant ka pa lang, may nakikita na tayong mga changes or individual differences, okay? Between infants, between toddlers, in the way they approach situations. Although hindi pa final or crystallized yung personality nila as early as toddlerhood or infancy, meron ng mga signs of individual differences. Later pag-uusapan natin yan. And we will also talk about emotions or the subjective reactions to experience that are associated with physiological and behavioral change or changes. For example, if you feel hungry, then you will show some emotions. If you are playing, then nagpapakita ka ng emotions that you are enjoying. So if may mga physiological changes like nasatisfy yung hunger mo, you will display a certain emotion like satisfaction or happiness through smiling, di ba? So, pero yung emotions na meron tayo ngayon as adults is not the same with the emotions na meron yung mga babies. Because early in our lives, very limited pa lang yung emotions na kaya natin i-express. For example, here are some first signs of emotions. Babies cry when they're hungry, when they're angry, when they're in pain, or when they're frustrated. Since hindi pa develop yung language nila, yung expressive vocabulary nila, it's too early sa life nila, they communicate with the world through crying. Meron iba't ibang mga patterns daw kapag gutom, kapag galit, kapag nasasaktan or frustrated yung baby. Other than that, at around 2 months, yung mga babies, meron silang tinatawag na social smiling. 'Di ba? As early as that, meron ng mga social interaction, although simple lang sa pananaw natin. 'Di ba? Mahalagang mga developments yan. When newborn infants gaze and smile at their parents, that's what you call social smiling, proving na merong social interaction between the baby and the parent. And other than that, another interesting tendency sa mga babies ay yung tinatawag na anticipatory smiling, in which when they smile at an object, then after that, they look at their parents and smile. Okay, so kunyari, if they find a certain toy fascinating, they will share the joy, they will share the experience, they will share the moment with their parent. Okay, so yan yung tinatawag na anticipatory smiling. Usually, yung bata, kapag walang mga ganyang social behaviors, nakikita sila as mga red flags. Like for example, tama naman yung pagpapalaki sa bata, pero yung bata hindi nakikipag-interact sa parent. O kaya wala namang problema sa upbringing, pero hindi siya nakikipag-usap, hindi siya nag-i-smile sa parent kapag, let's say, nasa childhood na siya. Okay? So, napakahalaga ng napakalaga ng social interaction. Ito mga early signs ito ng interaction, showing that as humans, we have the capacity to interact with the people around us, even by simply smiling to our parents, di ba? During babyhood. Okay? During infancy. And pagdating naman sa emotions, at first, limitado lang emotions na kaya nating express. Like, di ba yung sa Inside Out, di ba magkaka-sequel na siya? Tapos, if correct ako sa pagkaintindi ko, sa Inside Out, sa adolescence or sa next stage ni nung bida, sabi ata nung creators, there will be more emotions, 'di ba? So sa psychosocial development, here's the story, no? Something related to that. During the first 6 months, our emotions are very limited. We can only feel contentment, interest, and distress. Kunyari, kapag gutom yung baby, di ba? The baby is in distress. If the baby is excited sa toy or sa stimulus, the baby shows interest. Eventually, during the course of the first 6 months, it will evolve to more complex emotions. Dumadami emotions niya. Kunyari, contentment will eventually turn into joy. Interest will give way to the feeling of being surprised. Distress, mas marami ng klase ng distress emotions like sadness, disgust, anger, and fear. And then, kapag around 15 to 24 months, meron pang mga bagong emotions na napapakita yung bata. Ito yung mga tinatawag natin mga self-conscious emotions katulad ng embarrassment, empathy, and even envy. Okay? Siyempre yung baby na infant, hindi pa niya na-express masyado yung mga ganyan. Pero yung nasa mga batang 15 to 24 months, napapakita na nila yan. Di ba? Very interesting. It shows us that nade-develop na yung self-awareness nila. Nagigi-aware na sila kung yung kunyari empathy for a parent or empathy for a sibling, 'di ba? Even at a young age. Embarrassment for kunyari spilling a glass of milk. And even envy, 'di ba? Imagine as early as that they are showing signs of these emotions. And mag-evolve pa yan eventually. It will become self-evaluative emotions such as pride, shame, and guilt na hindi lang sila nagre-require ng awareness. It also requires knowledge of socially accepted standards of behavior. Balik tayo sa embarrassment. So mag-evolve pa siya. Ngayon yung embarrassment mo this time is not only a product of your self-awareness, it's also a product of knowing what is right and what is wrong. Kapag ano yan, 2.5 to 3 years old, di ba? Nakakaintindi na sila kahit konti sa mga actions nila. They feel pride if they did something good. Like if successful sila dun sa ginawa nila. Kunyari, at this stage kasi, nangyayari yung toilet training. Kunyari, nagawa nila yung successfully, they will show some signs of pride. O kaya, kapag may hindi sila mabuting nagawa, meron silang nagawang hindi mabuti, shame naman or guilt. Diba? Sabi nga ni Eric Erickson, diba, sa third stage, after ng autonomy versus shame and doubt, the next is initiative versus guilt. Yung mga emotions na ito, they do not only rely on the awareness that we have feelings. They also rely on our capacity to understand social standards. Like for the society, or kunyari sa household na lang, para mas simple. Ano yung tamang behavior ng bata? Ano yung hindi tama? Ano yung mabuti at ano yung hindi mabuti? Okay? Another interesting tendency for kids is their altruism. Pag sinabi natin altruism, they have the tendency to help without expecting anything in return. Nagpapakita yan as early as 1 year old. Kunyari, may nahulog silang toy, instead na hintayin nila yung nanay nila or tatay nila na pulutin yung nahulog nila na toy, sila na yung kukuha. That's an example of altruistic behavior. Wala naman sila hinihintay na kapalit. Like, they don't do it for an incentive. They don't do it for applause. Katulad ng mga bata na kapag inutusan, they want something in return, 'di ba? Yung mga younger, yung mga toddlers, yung mga infants, if mag-engage sila sa altruism, 'di ba? They if mag-engage sila sa helping behavior, it's altruistic. They're not expecting anything in return. And those are some signs that they are developing their empathy. Babalik na naman tayo doon sa point kanina. So empathy is the ability to put oneself in another person's place. Their level of empathy may not be comparable yet to the empathy that adults are capable of showing. Kasi iba yung empathy natin, di ba? Mas malalim yung understanding natin of other situation. Pero even though bata pa lang sila, isn't it great to know na capable na sila mag-display ng empathy? Even in their little ways. Katulad nung pagpulot ng nahulog na laruan, di ba? Dun sa floor. Okay? Other than that, there are findings also saying that before their second birthday, yung mga babies, they have the tendency to help others, like their older sibling, share their belongings or their food, okay, or even offer comfort, diba? Even in their own little ways, they show signs of helping behavior, and their helping behavior is altruistic, nothing in return. Wala sila ina-expect na anything in return. Another thing that we have to go through sa psychosocial development is their temperament. Okay, ano ba yung temperament? It is our characteristic disposition or style of approaching and reacting to situations. And we can think of temperament na parang raw materials ng adult personality natin. Whoever you are right now, yung personality mo, if we go back to your childhood, your temperament will say something about you. Your personality right now, in a way, is determined by your temperament. Okay? Siyempre, hindi pa naman complex yung personality ng baby, kaya hindi pa natin sila maintindihan in complex ways like we do with adults. But at least we can understand them by looking at their temperament. Okay? And there are 3 types of temperaments. May mga easy children, difficult children, and slow to warm up children. So sige, if you know, may kilala kayong baby, may kilala kayong toddler, try to classify them sa tatlong to based on these characteristics. Meron tayong mga easy child or easy children, I should say. Sila yung mga usually smile, no? Their mood is usually positive. They respond well to new situations. Hindi sila masyadong na-anxious if it's their first time to experience something. Kunyari, if i-introduce mo dun sa toddler yung isang activity, okay, like how to play with a new toy, or if introduce mo sa baby yung swimming, o kaya riding a bike, di ba? Makikita mo kung easy ba yung temperament niya. Okay? Tapos mas madali rin silang i-feed tsaka patulugin, yan yung mga easy children. Kapag may bago kayo papakain sa kanila na never pa nila na-try, very open sila to that. They take new food easily. They even smile at strangers. They adapt to new situations easily. And they accept most frustration with little fuss. Yung frustration nila, yung normal lang, kayang-kaya nilang ma-overcome eventually. Tapos adaptable sila sa mga routines. Yan. So may mga batang ganyan, no, napakadaling pakisamahan, no? Wala sila masyadong problem na kinukuha sa parents nila. Pero at the same time, may mga batang difficult. Sila yung mas intense yung emotions. Kung tumawa, sobra. Kung umiyak, sobra din. Tapos, they do not respond well to new situations. Kunyari, if it's your first time to introduce a new activity to them, kunyari, nasa childhood na siya, tapos tuturuan mo siya how to ride a bike, okay? Or how to play a certain board game, or how to play a certain game sa cellphone, kunyari. Kids who are difficult, they do not respond well to new situations. They're scared, o kaya naman, anxious sila, they may fail, which is related to their reactions na easily frustrated sila, and sometimes even with tantrums. Okay. They accept new food slowly. Medyo mahirap sila i-please when it comes to food. Suspicious of strangers. Take note na normal lang naman maging suspicious. Pero di ba may mga bata kasi na nag-i-smile sa strangers, lalo na kapag pinakilala ng nanay na, anak, this is my friend, tapos mag-hi hello sila. May mga bata na they're very suspicious in an abnormal way. Diba? Okay. What else? They adapt slowly to new situations. Kunyari, what if first day sa school, 'di ba may mga preschooler na madali silang mag-adapt. Hindi naman sila masyado nahirapan. Pero may mga preschooler din na hirap. Okay, may mga preschooler na kunyari 2 weeks na sila nasa classroom pero hindi pa rin siya nakaka-adjust. Not the same story with easy children, 'di ba? Na mas madaling i-introduce a new situation sa kanya. Yan. They adjust slowly to new routines related to the points raised a while ago. Di namang slow to warm up, somewhat in between sila. They're not that easy, but at the same time, they're not that difficult. mild lang yung reactions nila. So normal lang. Hindi siya extreme, pero hindi rin sila madaling pasayahin. Respond slowly to novelty. Not poorly, slowly lang. So if may bagong activity, at least they will engage on it. Pero medyo matagal silang i-warm up. Like matagal bago nila makuha yung tinuturo mo sa kanila. Kunyari, how to ride a bike or how to play basketball. Yan. Yung mga easy kasi excited sila. Yung mga difficult, maybe mapoprostrate sila, ayaw na nila. Yung mga slow to warm up sa una, anxious or afraid sila, eventually, gugustuhin na nila. O kaya, mag-engage na sila. They sleep and eat more regularly than a difficult child, pero hindi sila kasing dali nung mga easy children. They show mildly negative initial response to new stimuli like a new food, a new person, a new place or situation. Okay? Pero, like what I said, they gradually develop liking for a new stimulus, lalo na with repeated exposure. So, it's also possible for a child to belong to more than one temperament, or I should say, to have characteristics na iba-iba. Like when it comes to food, baka easy ka. But when it comes to situations, difficult ka or slow to warm up. It's also possible. Okay, so kunyari, baka naman pagdating sa physical activities, you're an easy child. Pero pagdating sa mga mental activities, like kunyari, mga mga games, mga board games, kunyari, you're slow to warm up, or you're difficult even. Di ba? So, your personality right now, pwede natin i-trace yan somehow to your temperament. Maybe ask your parents about it. How you were as a kid. Okay? Were you difficult? Mahirap ka bang pakainin? Lagi ka bang iyak ng iyak in an unhealthy way? Mahirap bang i-introduce yung mga bagong situations sa'yo? Maybe that says something about how you react to situations today. Were you an easy child? Is it easy for you to adjust? Maybe that's why right now it's also easy for you to adjust. Diba? Anyway, so kung ang usapan ay temperament, napakahalaga ng goodness of it. In other words, it's important na bagay yung environment ng bata sa temperament niya, or else magkakaroon ng tension. Halimbawa, yung bata slow to warm up pero lagi siya pinipilit ng magulang niya sumali sa mga program pero alam na nga na slow to warm up siya. Maganda naman na may encouragement para eventually kayanin niya pero hindi siya dapat biglain. I think as a kid, medyo slow to warm up ako unlike my classmates na bibo, no? They're easy children. Ako kasi matatakotin ako or anxious ako sa mga bagay na katulad niyan. Explains why I don't like mga theme park like riding roller coasters, mga ganyang bagay. Kasi somewhat nasa difficult child ako and slow to warm up. Nandun ako. So kailangan may goodness of it. Kunyari yung bata, medyo takot siya sa new situations, dapat may encouragement. Dapat hindi siya pupwersahin, dapat unti-unti. O kaya yung bata na easy child na gusto palagi ng something na gagawin, tapos kaya naman niya mag-adapt agad-agad, dapat hindi rin niya ma-feel na nililimit siya. Okay? Ayan. So, kailangan nagpi-fit yung environment niya sa temperament niya para maiwasan yung tension. Kunyari, if a difficult child, yung parents niya, authoritarian, which we will talk about in the next few lessons, authoritarian, o kaya yung gumagamit ng corporal punishment, I think magiging prone yung bata sa mga psychological issues or disorders. 'Di ba? Kasi nga difficult child siya pero instead na encouragement, yung upbringing sa kanya authoritarian, no? He or she gets punished for his or her tendencies. Yan, kunyari, hindi niya na-anxious siya sa first day of school tapos napagalitan siya because of that. 'Di ba? Nagkakaroon ng tension. Other than that, yung temperament mo, it says something about your behavior, your behavioral inhibition, or how boldly or cautiously you approach an unfamiliar situation. Kunyari ngayon, you will learn something new. Like, as of this time na nire-record ko yung video, issues like return of face-to-face class, what else? O kaya naman, trying a new activity like hiking, 'di ba, mountain climbing, mga bagay na ganyan, o mga activities na bago, mga unfamiliar na situation. Or even if you're willing to eat exotic food, yung mga ganyang bagay. Or even mga simple activities that you encounter sa classroom, something that you're not used to. It also says something about your temperament, di ba? Like what I was saying earlier. So may mga tao na they're okay, madali lang sa kanila mag-adapt to change. Maybe because as a kid, aside yung temperament nila, easy sila, baka yung environment nila also encouraged them to easily adapt to these changes. Okay? While in some cases, may mga bata na, kunyari, hindi sila masyadong hinahayaan mag-experiment sa mga bagay-bagay. Feeling nila limitado yung galaw nila. Tapos, kunyari, feeling nila nakukulong sila sa bahay. Parang ganyan. Kunyari, di sila hinahayaan maglaro. As an adult, pwedeng highly inhibited din siya. Like kunyari, dahil hindi niya naranasan makipaglaro as a kid, whenever he is in a social situation as an adult, nagkakaroon siya ng social anxiety. Diba? So yan yung mga possible explanations ng ilang mga tendencies mo today. It may have something to do with your temperament. Now, let's talk about developmental issues in infancy. Unahin natin ang gender. So, as early as infancy, napo-form na yung gender. Yung sense of being a male or a female. Okay? But here's the interesting part. Ano ba talaga yung masasabi natin sa formation of gender? Is it nature or is it nurture? Diba? Medyo mahirap sagutin yan. Maraming evidence kasi na nagsasabing it's nature. Kunyari, as early as 3 months, not only humans but even mga monkeys, according to one study, are more likely to prefer mga panglalaki na toys over sa mga pambabae. And some would argue maybe it's because of the testosterone level in males, which somehow predisposes us to prefer masculine stuff, mga bagay na pang-male. Yan. That's the nature side, di ba? Yung ating, baka nasa nature na natin. Baka naka-hardwire na tayo for something like that. But on the other side of the equation, let's also not forget the role of nurture or upbringing. Kunyari, socialization. The process by which you learn about how to behave. Kunyari, even gender can be acquired through socialization. Like, lalaki ka, you're supposed to be playing with this and that. Babae ka, you're supposed to be watching this and that at hindi ito. You're supposed to be playing with girl things, not boy things. Diba? Yan, so as early as infancy and toddlerhood, may gender typing na. Like kapag lalaki, naka-blue. Kapag babae, pink. Diba? Tapos yung mga toys, yung bedroom. And other than that, sa interaction, we are more likely to interact with same-sex parents. Like fathers are more likely to talk with their sons than to their daughters, which highlights the nurture side of gender development. Okay, babalikan pa natin itong conversation na ito in the next few topics. For now, tingnan naman natin yung perspective ni Erikson. So sabi ni Erikson, in this stage, the first crisis that we face is trust versus mistrust. Basically, we answer the question, or we ask the question, can I trust the world or not? Okay? So according to Erikson, babies must be able to develop a healthy balance between the two. Trust will allow us to form relationships, while mistrust allow us to protect ourselves. So it's important for the mother, or not only the mother, for the parents or for the caregiver to be there during the time na nangangailangan yung bata, but not to the point na spoiled siya. Because if mas spoil yung bata, it's possible na sobrang trust yung ma-develop niya. Mahalaga kasi yung trust. Like if umiyak yung bata and the mother is there to feed the baby, if the baby is hungry, the child will learn that I can trust the world. That if something bad happens, I know that I will get through this. Ganon kahalaga yung trust, di ba? But if napabayaan yung bata, they will develop mistrust. They will say something like, if nagawa sa akin to ng nanay ko, then I think everybody will do this to me. Like if yung bata iniwan sa kalye ng nanay niya, then may reason siya not to trust other people kasi nga nanay niya ginawa sa kanya yun. Which is hindi rin maganda kasi when you grow up, you will be pwede ka maging paranoid. Di ba? So it's important to develop a healthy balance. Because if there's too much trust, if spoiled kunyari yung bata, masyado siyang trusting, ang nangyayari, pwede siyang mag-iuto-uto, pwede siyang maging gullible. Which is why a healthy balance between the two is important. Alright? Other than that, let's see some other perspectives aside from Erickson's view. Now let's talk about Ainsworth's experiment, the strange situation. So what is attachment? It is the reciprocal enduring tie between two people, each of whom contributes to the quality of relationship. And according to Ainsworth, there are 4 types of attachment. Secure, avoidant, ambivalent, and disorganized. Yung last 3, lahat yan insecure. Pero may 3 klase na insecure: avoidant, ambivalent, and disorganized. So ano yung secure? Yung secure yung healthiest, of course. Okay. The rest, sila yung mga unhealthy. So paano ba nalaman ni Ainsworth? How did she come to the conclusion that we have different types of attachments or attachment styles? Do sa experiment niya, do sa strange situation, yung mother and child, yung baby, yung toddler, dinala sila sa isang room. Tapos may pumasok na stranger. First time pa lang na-meet nung bata. Then, the mother and the stranger, iniwan nila yung baby. Then, before bumalik yung mother, unang pumasok yung stranger. Tapos, as early as that, nagkakaroon ng differences sa behavior ng baby. Like, may mga baby na anxious in front of the stranger. May mga baby rin naman na parang wala lang nangyari. And then, after that, yung mother, papasok siya ulit sa room. Then, i-observe nila how that will change the situation. How that will change the status of the baby. Like, titigil ba siya umiyak or tuloy-tuloy pa rin ba? Unahin natin yung secure attachment. The infant is quickly and effectively able to obtain comfort from the attachment figure in the face of distress. So ito yung mga baby na, nung umalis yung nanay nila, umiyak sila, which is normal. That's not abnormal. Especially in the face of a stranger. Pero nung bumalik yung mama nila, or yung caregiver nila, okay na sila agad. Hence, secure attachment nila. Healthy yung attachment nila. Ano naman yung avoidant? Noong umalis yung nanay, wala lang nangyari. Hindi sila umiyak. Dumating yung stranger, parang wala lang. Okay? Di ba dapat nakakatakot na yun for a kid? Sa kanya, parang wala lang. Tapos, bumalik yung nanay, parang wala lang ding nangyari. Unlike sa secure na umiyak siya, tapos nung bumalik yung nanay, they wanted to be comforted. Yung avoidant, parang walang nangyari. Which is a sign that the attachment is not secure. Okay? Which is, hindi siya normal for a kid. Mas normal sa bata na anxious ka in strange situations. Paano naman yung ambivalent o yung resistant? Katulad lang nung sa secure, nung umalis yung nanay, tapos pumasok yung stranger, nagpakita ng distress yung baby. Pero, pagbalik ng nanay, they wanted to be comforted. But at the same time, ayaw nila magpahawak. Ayaw nila magpa-comfort. Kaya nga ambivalent. They're showing mixed emotions. Diba? Unlike sa secure na, nung pagbalik ng nanay, they wanted to be comforted, so nag-okay sila. Yung mga ambivalent, they're showing signs na gusto nila magpa-comfort, at the same time, ayaw nila magpahawak. Ayaw nila magpahug. Ayaw nila magpa-embrace. That's ambivalent resistant attachment. Okay, so mga signs yan ng insecure attachment. And finally, we have disorganized, disoriented attachment, in which there's no predictable response. Sometimes they will cry, sometimes hindi. And more, something na mas kailangan i-take note, they show contradictory response and even misdirected. For example, instead of approaching the mother for comfort, they will approach the stranger, which is quite surprising. Kasi di ba dapat we seek comfort from the caregiver? In their case, they show contradictory response. Or even in the presence of the mother, they cry, but in the presence of the stranger, they're okay. mga signs yan ng insecure, ng unhealthy attachment. Kasi ang healthy na attachment dapat, in the absence of the caregiver, normal lang na umiyak. In the presence of a stranger, normal lang maging anxious, lalo na first time na meet. At pagbalik ng nanay or ng caregiver, dapat makomfort niya effectively yung bata. Ba't natin inaaral to? Kasi kunyari sa abnormal psychology, there are various disorders observed in childhood na pwede nating i-relate sa topic na ito. I will not go into details, pero meron tayong tinatawag na autism. 'Di ba sa autism, may mga yung mga cases na yung bata hindi nakikipag-usap sa magulang, they do not establish eye contact. They do not share their emotions with their parents. 'Di ba? Medyo alarming 'yun for the parent, like 5 years old na pero hindi pa nagsasalita or hindi pa nakikipag-interact. Yan. Okay? Meron din mga signs that the child is being abused at home. Like, how come yung bata is not close to his or her mother or father? Baka signs yan na inaabuso siya sa bahay. Or let's not jump to the conclusions. There are other potential explanations. Pero at least alam natin yung mga developmental red flags. Yan. So, like what I've been saying, it's normal for a kid to feel stranger anxiety. It's normal for a kid to show separation anxiety. Okay? Alam natin sa adult, it's not normal for you to display these emotions. Okay? Pero sa baby, normal yan. And actually, sign yan na secure yung attachment niya. Like, why will you be okay being exposed to a stranger? Diba? Normal lang sa bata na ma-anxious ka in the face of a stranger kasi dapat, diba, sa magulang lang tayo nakaka-feel ng emotional closeness. Baka sabihin, sir, matagal na niyang kilala yun. And then that person is no longer a stranger. Di ba? Separation anxiety. For an adult, that may not be normal. No? That meron tayong separation anxiety disorder. But for a baby, definitely that's normal. Okay? Eventually, ma-overcome naman niya yan. Like kapag nasa school na, masasanay na siya na hindi niya nakikita palagi yung magulang niya. Okay? Pero, so by saying this, I'm saying na, so hindi yun normal na kapag wala yung magulang, parang wala lang sa bata. Katulad nung sa avoidant na diniscuss natin kanina. Diba? Yan, they rarely cry when separated and even avoid contact, diba? That's not expected developmentally, no? Now, other issues in infancy, meron tayong tinatawag na emotional communication. So how do you communicate your emotions? Okay? It's important that between the mother and the caregiver, merong mutual regulation. They regulate each other's emotions. They can effectively communicate how they feel and there's an appropriate response. So for example, if yung bata umiyak, dapat ma-regulate siya nung magulang o nung caregiver. Hindi yung papagalitan for crying. Kasi baka yun yung way ng bata to express that he or she needs something. Diba yung iba kapag umiiyak, pinapagalitan, like bawal ka umiyak. So hindi nare-regulate yung emotion ng bata. Natututo lang siya na i-repress pero hindi niya na-express kung ano yung gusto niya sabihin. And also the other way around, diba? Dapat, as a sign of secure attachment, the baby, the toddler, should also respond appropriately to the parent. Like if the parent is initiating a conversation, di ba? Sign of secure attachment that the child, the toddler, will interact even in his or her own little ways. Okay? Kaya nga 'di ba red flag 'yun kapag yung bata nasa time na dapat nakakapag-speak siya pero hindi pa rin siya nagsasalita. Yan. Other than that, what's social referencing? We have the tendency to approach and understand an ambiguous situation by seeking another person's perception of it. Like for example, if it's your first time to be exposed to a stuffed toy na sa tingin mo weird, di ba we have the tendency to share the feeling with our parent? Like we call them, minsan nagkakatinginan kayo, and you respond to it by checking how other people feel. So di ba, as early as toddlerhood, kaya na natin mag-share ng emotions natin, katulad yan. Yan. So, mas nakakatakot kasi yun if yung bata hindi nag-share ng emotions. Baka may problem sa kanyang social communication. Now, we're done with infancy. Let's now move on to the developmental issues in toddlerhood. So, unahin natin yung sense of self. Okay? I think you're familiar with the term self-concept. It's a collection of beliefs about who you are. As early as infancy, meron ng signs that the child is developing a sense of self. Like at 3 months old, yung bata, they pay attention to their mirror image. At 4 to 10 months, they have the sense of agency or the sense of control over the outcomes of their actions. Like, if I do this, I know that this will be the outcome. That's their sense of agency. Okay. So, nade-develop unti-unti yung sense nila that I am a separate individual. Kasi, like what you learn in theories of personality, early in infancy, the child has the assumption that I and my caregiver, no, ako at saka yung caregiver ko, ay isa lang. We are one and the same. So they have that kind of assumption about the world. Pero as they mature, they learn that magkahiwalay kaming human beings. We're not the same. So meron tayong tinatawag na, ito yung mga ilang signs na yung bata nagde-develop ng sense of self, sense of individuality. They have the sense of self-coherence at around 4 to 10 months. They realize that they are a separate body, that they have boundaries from the rest of the world. Like I and my mother, we're not the same person. Yes, we're connected socially, di ba? When I need something, the mother will be there, pero magkaiba kami. Self-awareness related to the discussion earlier. They have the conscious knowledge that they are a distinct, identifiable being. And as they mature, they also learn to understand other people's perspective. They engage in pretend play. Okay? Which is a sign that at this stage, hindi lang nila naiintindihan yung sarili nila, but they learn how to pretend and play the role of other people, like the role of their sibling, pretending as if they're their kuya, pretending as if sila yung parent, pretending as if they're a doctor, a police officer. Diba? Okay. So if kanina, the conflict is trust versus mistrust, in toddlerhood, the conflict, according to Erickson, is autonomy versus shame and doubt. Okay? This is the stage in which, since na-develop yung sense of individuality natin, we want to do things on our own. Okay? But at the same time, we need to know what are the limits of our actions. Toddlers need adults to set appropriate limits, and shame and doubt help them recognize the need for those limits. Kunyari, as a toddler, you want to climb the stairs on your own. Autonomy. You want to take out the food from the ref on your own. You want to do things on your own. Pero the adult needs to keep dangerous things away from you. They also need to keep you away from dangerous situations. That's why you need to develop a sense of shame and doubt. If there's too much autonomy, okay naman ang autonomy, no? Kailangan matuto yung bata na I can do this on my own. Pero if there's too much autonomy, what if they start doing things na hindi dapat? Like climbing the stairs on their own kapag hindi pa sila ready. O kaya playing outside without their parents' supervision tapos mabangga. Kaya kailangan meron ding sense of shame. Na if may ginawa ako mali, dapat mahiya ako sa ginawa ko. And sense of doubt. The healthy amount of doubt, not the unhealthy one. Na kunyari, kaya ko ba to? Dapat ko bang gawin to? Like for example, it's okay to have a healthy amount of doubt if it's your first time swimming, if it's your first time riding a bike, if it's your first time playing outside. Because these are situations that may cause potential danger. Diba? So normal lang naman na may healthy balance between being on your own or autonomy and feeling a certain degree, a certain level of shame and doubt. Wag lang susobra. Kasi may mga bata na they cannot do things without their parents' presence. Eh paano kung nasa school na sila tapos nauuna yung shame and doubt compared sa autonomy? Tapos may program, tapos tutula siya kunyari sa stage pero kinain siya nung shame niya o nung doubt niya. Diba? In relation to that, nade-develop yung morality nung toddler. Through socialization, natututunan natin sa magulang O anak, huwag mo gagawin yan, bastos yan. Pag ka sasagot sa magulang mo, ka magmumura. Tapos, anak, dapat kapag nag-CR ka, you do this, you do that. Okay? Kapag naglalaro ka, kailangan itago mo yung laruan mo after. Diba? We learn through socialization. And as time goes by, we internalize these standards. Hindi lang natin sila ginagawa because sinabi sa atin, we accept them as our own. Like, I should not talk back to my parents because I know that hindi ito maganda. Not just because mapapagalitan ako. So, di ba, nagko-contribute siya sa moral development natin. Which helps us in our self-regulation. It's like your way of saying no to your desires if you know that hindi siya maganda. It's your independent control of your behavior. May mga tao na adult na pero hindi sila well-regulated. Like people who do drugs, people who engage in unhealthy behavior because of their curiosity, okay? People who talk back to their parents or to their teachers or to their coworkers. Maybe hindi maganda yung pagpapalaki sa kanila or nakulangan sila sa development ng self-control, ng self-regulation. Okay? Kapag maganda yung upbringing natin, healthy yung conscience natin. Sabi nga ni Freud, healthy yung superego natin. The conscience is our internal standards of behavior, which usually controls our conduct and produce discomfort when violated. For example, if you are outside your home, even though sabi ng mama mo that you should be home by 10, pero hindi ka nakinig sa kanya, yung mga taong well-regulated, of course, susundin nila yun, uuwi sila by the time na sinabi sa kanila. Pero yung mga tao na hindi maganda yung self-regulation, yung conscience nila parang wala lang. Like, okay lang yan, hindi ako matatakot, no? Parang, ba't naman ako matatakot, no? It also says something about their behavior as an adult. As a husband or as a wife, for example, if hindi niya sinusunod yung request ng partner niya, kunyari in the context of cheating, okay, or nang tawag dito, or extramarital affair, di ba? So it also says something about the self-regulation na nag-i-start mag-develop even as early as toddlerhood. So usapang regulation, lastly, pagdating sa compliance and obedience, meron tayong tinatawag na situational tsaka committed. When we say situational, sumusunod ka lang in the presence of parental control. Like, you will only follow if your mother or father is there. You will only obey if you have been reminded to do this, do that. But if your parents are away, they're absent, they're busy working, hindi mo na itatago yung toys mo. Yan yung situational compliance. Yung committed compliance, nagko-comply ka wholeheartedly, even without reminders. Like, kailangan itago natin yung toys kahit walang nagpapaalala sa atin. That's what we call committed compliance. Pero iba pa yung receptive cooperation. When we say receptive cooperation, that is the initiative of the child to cooperate with a parent in daily interactions, like in routines, chores, hygiene, and play. So yung bata, kapag hindi lang siya sumusunod sa utos sa kanya, pero tumutulong siya sa chores, tumutulong siya sa mga routine sa bahay, di ba? He or she maintains a healthy relationship with his or her parents. Nagko-contribute siya do sa maintenance ng home, di ba? That is what we call receptive cooperation. You go beyond kung ano inutos sa'yo. You contribute actively sa pag-maintain ng relationship nyo sa bahay. So that is it, everyone. That is for my discussion on the psychosocial development in the first 3 years. I hope you learned a lot, and I'll see you next time for another video in developmental psychology. Thank you very much.